Welcome to episode number 135 of the BEBC
BS
Podcast. How y'all doing?
This is the funeral podcast. I'm doing okay. Cold, chilly, David.
Recovering from being out in the rain for 4 hours.
I have to laugh because
Yes.
driving over there yesterday, everything was fine until you get within like 15 minutes of the stadium, and then it says, okay, now we'll start raining.
Yeah.
And
even during warm-ups, it wasn't raining that much.
Well,
Sprinkling a little bit.
This is why I always want to be a weatherman.
Yeah.
Because what was the forecast? Rain, quarter of an inch.
Quarter of an inch.
30% chance of rain.
We had a quarter of an inch.
Dale freaking Hansen.
Dale Hansen.
Yeah, whatever.
Pete Delkus, you mean?
Yeah, whatever. I'm just him and Pete. They were bourbon and cigar
buddies.
buddies.
Nice to get paid the kind of money they do to
Be
not know
wrong
what's going
half
on.
the time. Yeah, and again, it's
I mean, it changes like every hour.
it's crazy.
It didn't used to do that.
Yeah, and then the fourth quarter came, and it started raining a little harder, and the wind picked up,
Oh, the wind was horrible.
and it got cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot cooler.
That's
I
what
was shaking.
there was a lot of people. Then you started bailing out of there.
Well, and in the overall picture, David, you said it. I mean, the conditions were the same for both teams,
Absolutely.
and it's just sometimes it's not your day.
Yeah,
Whether
well,
that's because of lack of conditioning or whatever. I mean,
for those of you that don't know, Allen loses to North Crowley 35-7 in one of the,
ugliest.
I'm going to use the word ugliest games
Yeah.
I have seen. I think, and I was trying to remember, and I looked back since the no, I'm not going to go for that.
Was that the last
2005 game against
shutout?
Plano when Rex Burkhead
Rex was a
playing.
monster.
and Allen got beat at home 35-7.
Okay.
Yeah, but kudos to all the fans that actually made that trip and didn't stay at home and watch it on
Right.
TV
And stuck around after halftime and
stuck it out. That was great. I appreciate that.
yeah.
Because obviously we go every game, and no matter where it's at or in town, out of town, whatever. But
And to those of you, and I'm going to say this because I really mean it, to those of you who came unprepared for rain and stuck out the whole thing, bless your hearts.
there was a few.
Jeans and hoodies when it's raining,
And you're sopping wet.
that ain't going to cut it. It was just
and-
awful.
And Godspeed to Coach Wigg, as he was out there without a hat on, and his head was drenched. He must have been hot and cold.
Well, he was hot under the collar.
Well, he found on his own directive. There was no extra stuff for cold weather, no gloves, no hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the best I can recall, and James, you might remember this. Well, you should remember it too. You were around. We're going to have a call here in a minute. FYI, we don't have Coach Wigg today, and the reason is that it's parade day. And so they had to pass out uniforms, be in the parade, which starts in 15 minutes, and it just didn't work out with our timing, and
Right.
we could do the podcast.
Right.
So he's not dodging us. He's busy. And I'm sure that if we want to have a follow-up call with him at any point, he'd be glad to.
We could do our best Coach Wigg impressions. All right, ready, go.
No,
I can't coach speak,
can't coach. Steve.
especially today.
But it was an ugly game, and typically when you have 7 fumbles, the ironic part of that is
This is the major ironic
you
part.
didn't lose any of them. You had 7 fumbles, lost none of them. 2 were on punts, 1 fake punt, 1 normal punt. But you had 5 fumbles during plays.
and especially on the punts, you're losing major ground.
Yeah.
It's a flipping of the script.
How many drop passes?
Ugh.
A lot of drop passes.
Anything that could have gone wrong yesterday, short of
Absolutely did.
a major injury, early in the game anyways,
A lot of 3 and outs. A lot of punting.
it was just bad.
It was rough.
And you had this sense of hope because the defense hung in there and hung in there and hung in there, and your offense just couldn't get any traction. I mean, I think they got their first down. Let's go back and
Third
look.
quarter.
I think it was in the
No.
latter part of the second quarter,
yeah.
just before halftime. And it just took that long for things just to to figure yourself out.
Yeah, and even if you say I'm going for it on 4th in my territory, within the 35 or 40, seems reasonable.
Yeah.
But it worked once, twice,
3 times a lady.
Yeah, it didn't work that often.
To bring up an old Commodore song. We do have someone we're going to talk to today, though. He's getting gas right now. He just texted me. It's funny. I don't know where he was, but he's driving back to Dallas.
Well, and as the boys were playing last night, I said, if only we had a good basketball team to enjoy. And it's like, boom! Let there be light.
Maybe he's got an answer for our games next year.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't know if he's done that yet, but we can ask the question. And we'll just give him a call. We're going to call Kris Cumnock. He wanted to speak to us today, so he didn't respond, so let's see if he...
Director of the Wiping Out Kids Cancer Classic.
Yes, sir. See if he answers. See what he paid for gas.
$2.69.
Hello?
Chris. Do you need any help pumping your gas there, sir?
I've got it. I got it done.
Good man.
Where are you
It's
at?
cold out here, though.
Where you at?
It is cold.
What's that?
Where you at?
I just got into the outskirts of Dallas, but
Where are you coming from?
yeah. San Antonio.
We're nosy
Let's get down
neighbors
there.
here. We
Yeah.
want to know everything.
Yeah,
Signing a contract
Oh,
for
it's
next year.
okay.
Well, if you're coming through South Dallas and just enter South Dallas and got yourself some gas, get back in your car real quick now.
Yeah, I feel safer.
Good.
I feel safer now.
Well,
Yeah.
I had reached out to you earlier today and just to see if you wanted to talk, and so you said you did, and so we are calling you to talk.
Well, it's always an honor and a privilege to talk to you guys.
We love how you butter us up every time you call.
Well, no, I mean that. Well, I'm really proud of the Allen Eagles. I mean, what a great season, and I mean, look, we all talked about it when Wig took over. It wasn't the best circumstances, and I think there were a lot of things to fix within the program, and I commend him and his coaches and the kids and everybody for getting that done. North Crowley is going to be a really tough team for anybody to beat. Next week should really be fun to watch, but when you recruit on a SEC and Big Ten level, as North Crowley now does, got a lot of talent over there. That's hard to overcome.
Yeah, I saw signing day they had 8 guys go to Division I and 1 guy go to Yale. So it's they do have talent, like you say, and I think the one thing we had discussed before the game was it was just going to take a monumental effort with very minimal mistakes to compete with this guys, and yesterday was just not the day that they were able to do that.
No, I mean, the weather, didn't help any, but they're just going to be a tough out for anybody, including Duncanville. That's going to be really interesting to watch next week. Because North Crowley, I mean, man, they did have 8 kids sign, and I think 6 of them did not live there 2 years ago. But I mean, it is what it is. But they're really crazy talented, and like you said, it was going to take a monumental effort, and I think it's going to take a really great effort from Duncanville to beat them. They may be the most talented team left in 6A.
Well, from that perspective, watching the Coppell game against North Crowley, I've got that much more respect for what Coppell was able to do.
It was dry.
Well, dry for sure, but...
Whoop! Did we lose you?
No, I got you back now.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying I was impressed with, given all that we've just talked about, how well Coppell did at kind of holding them off and making it at least a 3.5 quarter game.
Yeah, Coppell, they really had kind of turned that program around because it was headed in the wrong direction, and they've had a couple of really good classes come through there and kind of got it back on the right track as well. So, There should really be some great games to watch next week. I wish Allen were still getting to play, and but those kids have got a lot to be proud of this year, and that coaching staff does too.
Well, and lo and behold, the Duncanville versus North Crowley game is going to be held at Allen Eagle Stadium.
I heard SMU.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Eagle Stadium?
Yeah, it's Eagle Stadium.
Wow.
Yeah. So maybe we'll have to go to a game next week.
Huh. Yeah. Which side do we sit on?
Press box.
Press box. Well, go ahead.
I think, I'll certainly sit on the Duncanville side because they've got Keelan Russell, who will be the next great Alabama quarterback. So I got to support him.
Understood.
We were kind of wondering how you were going to segue towards Alabama, and bam, you did it.
Well, look, I don't think anybody that's an SMU fan, they don't and they shouldn't feel bad that their team's in it, and great for them. And I think it's a cute story. I think the committee kind of got, if your task is to identify the 12 best teams, I think it's a flawed thing anyway, because you can't put humans in a room and say, okay, nobody should have any biases in this room.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. You have conference biases, you have team biases. I think you ought to load all the important things into a computer: strength of schedule, game control, all those things. And let's just go with the top 12. Forget if you won your conference, because you can't make the conferences equitable.
Yeah.
You just can't. I think Alabama should get out of the SEC tomorrow and join the Mountain West. And then
not an ACC schedule. Not an ACC school.
Well, it's kind of the same, but then you play the same schedule as SMU did, and Indiana did, and Boise did,
and you can look like a world beater. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how do you figure losing a quarterback should factor into that whole thing? I mean, you won the game, but you lost your quarterback, and
yeah, Chris, I don't know if you were on social media last night, but all the FSU fans, once Carson Beck got hurt, said, well, they shouldn't make it because their quarterback's not going to be there, and it was pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, you can't say they're wrong. Because that definitely factored into last year, and you could see it coming too, with that kid coming around the corner and his arm back. He's lucky it wasn't worse than it was.
Oh yeah, indeed.
Well,
but I don't think they can win it with Gunnar Stockton as the guy. I don't know how bad. I haven't heard how bad Beck is. I'm sure they're not saying yet, but only Jerry Jones would do that in advance of games. He would say that, but I don't think Gunnar Stockton can go out and beat playoff teams. I think he came in and did a good job yesterday, but the defense really picked him up, and Ewers continues to make mistakes for Texas, which. It's just you can't turn the ball over against Georgia. If you can play clean against them, you can beat them, but you can't turn the ball over twice.
Well, maybe the third time will be the charm in that play. But yeah, I agree with you on the whole it's almost like you want to do away with every conference, because Saban was on this morning and he said this, the strength of schedule thing and who you play, and there's going to be no incentive whatsoever for any athletic director to schedule any good game against a highly ranked team going forward, because at least this year, and who knows if it changes, the strength of schedule didn't matter.
Right.
And so why would Texas go play Michigan and Alabama, and Alabama's got Florida State and Michigan and Ohio State and all these teams scheduled coming up. Why would they do that if it doesn't do anything for them?
Right.
Go
100%.
Go schedule your directional team and get a win, and if that appears to matter more. I don't know. It's really hard. I don't know what the correct answer is, but you know, at the end of the day,
Well,
my biggest, and when I look at it, my biggest team that I look in that whole thing that I go, how in the world is Indiana?
yeah.
I'm like, I don't care if you're 11-1. One, you didn't play anybody, and two, the one team you played, you lost to. So, I just
Yeah, and you didn't just lose. I mean, you got blown out.
yeah, exactly. And so then you go, why are you there?
Well, but I think this year, I really do. I think the committee got kind of stuck on these. Hey, that's kind of a cool story. Indiana hasn't been good in years, and all of a sudden they're good, and you know, they all year long it's been, well, Boise played Oregon close.
Yeah.
Like, okay, is that what now we're getting people in the college? I just think if we're trying to identify the 12 best, then you got to stop with this. Well, they deserve an automatic bid, and they deserve an automatic bid, and again, I just don't know that anybody can have no bias to sit in a room. I mean, if you've been affiliated with a university or a conference, you can think you're being unbiased, but the reality is you're probably not. And I know I couldn't. I mean, you put me in that room, and Alabama's 3-9, they're getting in.
We appreciate the honesty of your argument.
Wait.
It makes a lot of sense.
3-9?
Well, maybe not 3-9. But I got to tell you, and I'm maybe not proud of this, but when I was in college, when I was a freshman, I was pledging Lambda Chi as my fraternity, and I was a intramural official. And I told the guy that ran intramurals I should not be officiating the championship game with Lambda Chi and Sigma Chi. And he says, no, I want you'll do the right thing.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the game, Lambda Chi is down like by 3, and they're throwing to the end zone, and the kid drops it in the corner of the end zone. Well, that flag came out, and it was pass interference, and that kid he was 3 yards away, the defensive back. But yeah, I dropped the flag, and it was pass interference, scored on the next play, won the championship. But I told them I shouldn't be officiating that, and I mean, yeah.
You warned them.
I'm sorry, but
You warned them.
I warned them. But yeah, I couldn't be. I mean, yeah, maybe 3-9's a stretch, but not that far of a stretch.
Yeah.
Well, we too are homers for our own particular teams. I get it.
I'm just trying to figure out what the statute of limitations in on Chris being called out on
intramural games. Yeah.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's run out now. But
Yeah.
but yeah, man, I felt bad about it. I guess I didn't feel that bad, but at the time, but sure makes you popular with the older fraternity guys as a freshman.
Yeah.
At that point.
Well, and think of the whole committee this way. Their job is to get the top 6 with a really big margin of error. And so that's what they're doing. They're placating outside the top 6. And so if you want to say, okay, well, the last 4 shouldn't make it. Okay, well, then it's the top 8. I mean, at some point, you're just in there because you're filler material, supposedly, but you can still win it, the bottom 6. And that's what I think I'm looking for in here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's in some ways it's become like the first weekend of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, very true.
Could there be an upset? Sure, but none of those teams are going to go and those bottom feeder teams. I mean, those top. I mean, the last probably 24 teams have no shot. But it's a good story, and it makes their fans feel good that they get to travel and see an NCAA tournament game, and
that they think matters.
That they think matters. I think that's what we're turning football into as well, because we've got 3 of the 12 that aren't 3 of the best 12, maybe 4.
Yep.
I mean, Clemson's garbage too. Clemson's not very good, and Indiana's not good, and SMU is, sorry, but
they're
you didn't play anybody. So
yeah, they're SMU.
They're SMU, and you didn't play anybody. So, and the teams that when you did play somebody, you lost. Yeah. And I had a guy on social media today that said, "Well, hey, if you want Bama in, just beat Oklahoma." I'm like, okay, well, if you want to be guaranteed him, maybe don't let the guy run the kickoff back 47 yards. I could give you that same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's football. It happens.
It does. All right.
So
let's switch gears
anyway,
here.
Yeah.
Do you have a team for the Classic yet next year?
Yeah. So the Friday night game is still it was a 2-year deal, and so Legacy this year, gosh, they struggled. They played a world beater schedule. I mean, they played Trinity.
Yeah.
They played the best team out of Louisiana. They played Allen, and then they played somebody else.
Westlake or Travis? I can't remember which one.
Yeah, Travis. It was Travis.
Yeah.
So that was their first 4 games, and they lost all 4. But then they got it together. A quarterback got hurt, and then this sophomore kid, J.P. Reyes, that they've been raving about in Midland for years, he came in and started throwing for 350 a game, and they kind of got it together and went pretty deep in the playoffs. But they'll be here, and I can't say yet, but I'm working on something now and it will include the Allen student section, and it has national implications and United States record implications that I'm trying to get done for that game. So
nice.
If I get it done, we'll announce it pretty soon. But it could be really cool for the Allen student section that I think is the best in the country.
Wow, that's great.
So that'll be the Friday game, and then Saturday will be Melissa against St. Joseph's Regional out of New Jersey, and that's the first time a Texas high school team's ever played a New Jersey high school team.
Wow.
Okay.
So, anyway, but here's a cool thing, I will say. For everybody that came out to the Allen Midland Legacy game this year, the money raised from that game paid for every kid in Dallas Children's Hospital to have a buddy bag when
That's
they
awesome.
check in. It's the one good thing that happens when your child's diagnosed with pediatric cancer, because it's usually totally out of the blue. And so when they check into the hospital, parent after parent after parent said this was a game changer for us. And this totally changed kind of the perspective there, because it was the one good thing that happened to us over like a 4-day period initially. But so everybody that came to the game that night and bought a ticket, that's what you did. So you took care of over 220 kids and their families that checked into Dallas Children's Hospital. So it put a lot of smiles on faces, and so just thanks to you guys for helping promote it and coming out, and thanks to all those fans that supported it. It's great to come out and watch the Allen Eagles play, and the Escadrille, and the band, and all the great things that happen. But you also get to impact a lot of kids going through a really tough time, and so I applaud everybody that came out and bought a ticket for that, because you did good.
And that's sometimes forgotten. And even when you were doing the Landry, the scholarships that y'all gave out, and that people forget there's an end game to all that. And kudos for you for handling it for all these years. And like you say, thanks to everybody who came out, and we'll make sure and pass that along to people we talk to that don't listen to the podcast. That's really cool. So
100%.
Yeah.
And like I've said this before to you guys, and I really mean it. Every town, every community that has a high school football team, or high school basketball team, high school soccer team, whatever, should have a podcast like this and guys that care like you guys do. And really, really appreciate you guys. I've gotten to know you all, and you're really good human beings, whether you do this podcast or not. But I just think it's really cool what you do, and you care, and you give people like me who probably don't deserve any voice in the community. But I think it's cool that you have Wig on every week and give him a chance to talk. I think it's given people kind of some access to their head coach that most communities don't get. So I applaud him for doing it, and for you guys for having him on. And just a really fun year, and I think there's a lot to look forward to. And Mark, you just talked about sometimes you forget there's another angle to this. Well, there's also a cool angle to what Wig and his staff do with these kids off the field as well. And I know sometimes in the heat of a high school season that gets overlooked too, but I promise you the kids that came out yesterday in Allen Eagle jerseys versus the kids that came out and did what they did yesterday in North Crowley jerseys, I think one group's being led pretty well and the other group maybe has some work to do.
We will not disagree with that based upon what we saw
100%.
pregame.
Yeah.
It's quite obvious.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it with Coach Wig. He's heavily invested in the community, and we love seeing what he's doing to try and activate not only us, because we're the easy ones, right? But with the Silver Eagles and just getting a lot more people involved with the Connections program. That's how you build a great future. It's the old saying from, I don't know where it comes from, but great societies are built by men who plant trees, the shade of which they'll never enjoy. Yeah. And they know it. And so
beautifully said.
We're building all of these bridges, and you want to support the kids, just like what you're doing. I mean, thank goodness that you're doing what you're doing, because it really does make a direct impact. So I know this is a back scratch fest or a thon, but I say that to say thank you, Kris, for all you're doing and to give us an outlet, and then also to Coach Wig for giving us an outlet and allowing us to help where we have. So it's been a hell of a good year, but it's been a tough end. Always is. Yeah,
I told Sherry today, I said, you don't win the state championship every year, and every year that you don't win, this is what it feels like. And it never goes away.
Right.
That's why when you do win it, you better freaking enjoy it,
because it's that special.
Yeah, and it's not easy to do. I mean, we were talking yesterday. Okay, so you beat North Crowley, then what? Okay, then you get to play Duncanville, then what? Then you get to play North Shore. I was like, geez.
It's a murderer's row.
Yeah, it ain't easy.
Unless you're Kyler Murray, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah. And so
there's probably no state in America that has, once you get past really round two, it really becomes a murderer's row.
Yeah.
Really, in most, if you look down the brackets this morning, it's like a who's who of high school football in Texas playing each other next week, and it usually is, because there's that many good programs, and the kids in Texas are so well coached versus most other states. It's rare that you play a team in the playoffs that's not really well coached.
Yeah.
And North Crowley, I don't think they're doing a great job with their kids off the field, but they're well coached.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a great game next week, because Duncanville's well coached. They're really good. And so yeah. But anyway, I just appreciate being able to talk to you guys today, and all the Allen fans this year that came out and not only supported the Wipeout Kids Cancer game and made donations to us, but that just came out and supported all the kids all year long, the band kids, the drill team, the cheerleaders. There's a lot to be proud of if you're a fan of Allen High School.
Yes, sir. Well, we thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
Hopefully the traffic's not too bad through Dallas as you make your way home. And I
am rolling.
All right. We will certainly be in touch with you. Don't be a stranger. You know where to find us.
We always have some entertaining basketball games you can come attend with us.
Basketball game with us.
Yeah.
I know. I keep saying I'm going to do that, and y'all need to make me do it.
Okay.
And I need to. Make me do it like it's a chore, but I do want to do that with you guys. That'll be fun.
Tuesday night at home against Princeton. Friday night away at Plano West, and then the tournament comes up that's starting the day after Christmas. It's 3 days of basketball, which would be really good.
It's the in and out classic.
Oh yeah.
And I've got a pass for you. Not that you need it, but I'll give you one if you want to come.
Make us feel better.
No, I probably do need it, but.
All right, buddy. Well, be safe, right. And we'll be in touch, all right?
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Kris.
Thanks, Kris. Enjoyed it.
Bye-bye. There he is, Kris Cumnock. He's always a good call.
Executive Director of
Wipeout Kids
Cancer.
And I want to plug that.
It's great.
They do a thing every year where you can adopt an angel or a child and provide for Christmas gifts for a family. if you're interested in doing that, go to wipeoutkidscancer.org, I think it is. I'll find that and I'll link it in. Or if you just want to donate, like he was talking about, Buddy, but you can donate, a certain amount every month. You can make a one-time contribution. Anything you want to do to help those kids, it's well worth it. And like he said, pediatric cancer, it typically comes out of nowhere, and it's such a shock to a family unit.
Yeah. And when you're diagnosed, like Kris had mentioned to us before, it's not just, okay, gather your stuff up and show up at the hospital in a week. It's like, no, we're admitting you right now.
Yep. You got to start. The 135th, I went too fast. The 135th game in the history of Allen Eagle football. For those of you interested, 1973, Farmersville. Allen wins 32-14.
Yay!
To move to 6-3 on the year, 3-1 in district play. So there you go. The 135th victory.
Yeah,
we have to move up to
focus on victories.
1985. They played Lancaster.
Lancaster.
Yep. And beat them 24-7 for the 135th victory to move to 3-1 on the year. And I'm going to tell you right now, for 1985, that was their last victory of the year. Oh no!
Ouch!
Oh, poor Eagles! You're 3-1. You're rolling, and then we'll get into what happened later.
Yeah, hit the wall.
It was not good.
Yeah,
35-7.
Let me just admit, it's WOKC.org.
Okay, WOKC.org for wipeoutkidscancer.org. Thanks for looking that up.
You bet.
35-7. Allen loses to North Crowley. I went home last night, or I guess on the way home while we were driving, I looked up the stats and I was like, it's not going to be pretty. But I didn't realize 91 total yards of offense for Allen. 91. And
wow.
I don't even know what to say there. You're like, I wonder when the last time they had less than 100 yards of offense. That would take some research. That's going
to be a long time.
Not anymore, yeah. 33 yards passing on 3 of 14, 58 yards rushing on 43 attempts. It was just ugly. 7 fumbles.
Yeah, which are drive killers. Even if you don't turn it over, it's definitely a drive killer.
On the other side of the ledger, North Crowley have 414 total yards, only 32 passing because they didn't need to.
Right.
382 rushing yards on 48 attempts, almost 8 yards of rush. Penalties were about even, 6 and 7.
Yeah, I mean, on the rush, as far as the quarterbacks, they were really good at spreading our defense out, and it was always kind of a rollout delay, and the receivers have a chance to work their defenders back, and they can't come up, and so he's making 20, 30 yards a snap. What was his average?
Who's that?
Kris, the quarterback.
He was only 4 of 7, and he only had 32 yards passing. Okay. He had the one touchdown pass to Quentin Johnson, the receiver who's going to Colorado. Jimerson is actually going to North Texas. The interesting I found, and again, we can talk about game adjustments or whatever, but what I found really interesting yesterday was Allen did a pretty good job of clogging the middle. Mm-hmm. But the cutback lane, they had more runs where they would just cut back and there was nobody there.
Right.
And it was Katie bar the door, catch me if you can. And I don't know, again, maybe adjustments were told to be made. You never know.
Right.
You assume the coaches see what we can see.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that I've noticed, and it's the teams that are effective at running against us, is when you look at the rush, there's a depth to that rush, and if they're allowing you to get in deep on a certain area, then there's horizontal lanes that are going to open up for those adjustments, and they did really well at hitting those horizontal lanes on a little bit of a delayed whatever, not necessarily draw, but just delaying, see your lane, pop through it, and you're gone. They had really good team speed, as everybody, everyone had said. They
had 2 backs with over 100 yards. Cornelius Warren and Keontae Ingram. Ingram's a big kid.
Yeah.
32? Was that his number? Or 20, 23, 32, whatever it was. Allen wins the toss, defers. North Crowley gets the ball, and it was reminiscent. Like the first five plays were like old Kyler years, where it's like first two plays were 42 yards. You're like you look, and you're like, how are they downfield that far? And then on second and goal, actually it was third and goal, where Jimerson keeps the quarterback, and LeBron can't make the tackle.
Yeah.
And they score, and they're up 7-0. And it actually stayed that way for quite a long time, and you just kept waiting for the Allen offense to be able to do something.
To catch on. Well, you held them to 7 points in the first quarter.
Yep.
You scored another 14 in the second quarter, so you're going into halftime, 21-0.
Mm-hmm.
You know you're behind, but it's not insurmountable.
Nope.
You got to think that. I'm picturing the halftime inspirational speeches and stuff. You know what to do. We got 24 minutes left. Put it all out there.
And you get the ball, and you come run. You get the ball at the 35. You get a 5-yard run, and then you get Mackay fumbles, and you lose 9 yards.
Yep.
And then you have 3rd and 14, and you throw an incomplete pass. And then you punt. It just never stopped. You couldn't stop them, and then the next they get down to your 12-yard line, and the quarterback takes off, and he gets hit, and he fumbles, and Allen recovers, and you're like, okay, all right. Here's your chance.
I know we had our moments, but my feeling is that the referees let some of that stuff get out of control without throwing a flag. If they'd just thrown one flag, it could have eliminated a lot of that.
I saw them. They were definitely being more aggressive than the Austin chapter was the week before. Or was that the Austin chapter? Anyway, they were being more aggressive, at least ahead of time and then first in the game.
What, the referees?
Yeah.
I mean,
as far as stopping any,
they stopped all that crap going on before the game. They went up to those guys to quit it, and you
rush
appreciate
over there like it means something. Yeah.
But there was a couple times during the game, and again, I don't think it makes a difference at this point when you look back at it. But it's just like, I don't know. I don't know why kids just can't. Are we getting grumpy old men?
I know exactly why kids just can't.
I don't think so. I mean,
it's the heat of the
moment. It's
moment.
the difference in the two coaching philosophies. Yeah. We would not let that happen.
Yep.
Their coaches allow it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Duncanville, and it's like North Shore, and it's just like DeSoto.
DeSoto, yeah.
And Cedar Hill.
Yep. Well, and a lot of it, if you were on social media, I thought about this last night laying in bed. It's funny when you can't go to sleep. You said, the days when social media wasn't around,
right?
And say we're playing North Crowley, you wouldn't hear anything about it because the only place you could get any news on it would be in the paper.
Right. And maybe you have a little bit of poster material that goes up in the paper. But that's about it.
But now with social media, the North Crowley parents and football fans on social media, and I'm kind of with Kris, I hope they get waxed this way. I hope Duncanville waxes them just because of the way people act.
Because they're so much better.
And now you see it all, and you're like, you just want to beat them so bad, so they shut up. And maybe Allen was like that back in the day. I don't know. I mean, sometimes when you're in the middle of it, you don't see it as well, but it's just like, I kind of miss the days of not knowing all this stuff that I know and not seeing it. But I guess, you can get off social media and you wouldn't see it. But anyhow. 13-1 for the year. 2 regional final appearances back to back. 2 losses to North Crowley. It's kind of like the new.
It's our
North
new
Crowley
kryptonite.
New kryptonite. Yeah. We're South Lake.
Well, we've had South Lake. We've kind of been Duncanville's kryptonite. They've had their way with us a little bit, but we're losing 58 seniors. We retained 22 juniors, which is really good. We've got 3 sophomores, and then we've got 1 extra special freshman.
Mr. Johnson.
Which we're happy to have him back. I'm glad he got a chance to do so much as a freshman. That's very rare.
It is, and it's fun to see. And Caleb Smith, Jet will be back next year.
Yes,
recovering from injury this year, and so that'll be another weapon that we'll have.
Caleb, we got Kai Wheaton coming back. Japri is coming back. Brett Holloway's coming back. I mean, if this doesn't give you some encouragement, for the upcoming season, the seniors have led these guys well. They've contributed really nicely, and I think as the mentality that Wig is trying to instill in these kids keeps catching, it's going to be stronger and stronger. And people need to believe that and lift people up to that expectation instead of knocking them down. Oh, well, you fell down. Shut up. Lift them up.
Yeah. Well, and it's always fun for us because you get a new crop, and you're like, okay, who's going to be the people that we don't know about that are all of a sudden going to be there, step up, and okay, who's going to play quarterback next year?
Oh my gosh, LeBron's coming back.
The Deacon will be back.
Carter Harrison coming back. Joshua Shaw, the monster killer.
LeBron will be a senior, right?
He'll be a senior.
Major Miller, he'll be a senior.
I'm glad he'll be back.
Trey Robinson is one of our sophomores. Hova Wilford, Roberson. Sorry, Hova Wilferson.
Amici's coming back.
Hanson Amici. Yeah.
Now Mitchell New. And I need to talk to Mitchell because Mitchell got a personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
And was that the one that coach was like going off on the refs on, or
no? That was for zero on their team not getting one. But Mitchell never does. He doesn't say 3 words. He probably has 3 words in his life. I was like, what did he do? You need to look at the video on that play. Tell me what number 1 did.
All right. How far along was that? Was that early in the game?
No, it was late.
Third quarter.
Third quarter or something.
All right.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and so we didn't mention the other one. Lyndon Spriggs is
he's just a sophomore.
Yeah, sophomore. Well, Trey Roberson, Lyndon Spriggs, and Hova Wilford are our sophomores, and Josiah is our freshman. Josiah Johnson, and number 84. It's going to be good. I mean, Nate's coming back as quarterback. He showed some sparks. Don't know if he's the starter. We'll see what happens, coming up. But he's got some good game experience, and from a leadership standpoint, good kid.
Yep.
So
hyper.
And again, we'll always, we'll find new people. We'll show up. 7-on-7 will be interesting. We'll probably lead those guys again on 7-on-7. That's always fun for us. But, we thank everybody for listening for another year of Allen Eagle football.
Seniors, we're going to miss you guys. We hope you go on to do great stuff, whether it's playing football or just a career. And
just be a great person.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what matters most. So
come back to Allen. Have babies. We need more. we need more football players. Come on, man.
All right, come back to Allen with a wife and have babies. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's get it right.
We're not going to tell you to join a church, but you should. It's a good thing.
Gosh.
We'll support you.
Please, please, please. So we'll reach out to Coach Wig and we'll see if he wants to have a closing little 15, 20-minute discussion on his team because he really loves these kids and he loves this team and he probably has some things he wants to say.
That's very clear. Yeah.
But we appreciate all y'all listening. Basketball, again, like we told Kris, Tuesday night at home versus Princeton. Friday night at Plano West. I looked up the schedule. I think they've got one other game before the in-and-out tournament, which starts the 26th, the day after Christmas. Mm-hmm. It's a 3-day tournament. If you want to see some I looked up Summer Creek's going to be there. Lake Ridge is going to be there, and those are 2 top 15 teams. Of course, Allen is ranked number 2 in the state right now. They're 11 or 12, 11-1 and 12-1. I can't remember which.
They're not, undefeated, but
they lost to the number 1 team in the state.
Yeah,
and they beat every out-of-state team they've played. It's been really neat to see that.
That's impressive.
They played Prosper. The 20th.
And that's a weird time, like a 5 o'clock game. Yeah, because I think they're out of school.
Oh, right. Yeah, they get out
and
the
that's
19th.
at Prosper, isn't it, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's here.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's here.
It's in Allen? Okay. So that would be Friday night.
Good.
Friday night, a week from Friday. Because next 20th. Friday is the Friday the 13th.
I may be here and I may not.
Day after Christmas, I play Andres.
Yeah, so there's a lot of basketball coming up, and they're already in the district. They beat McKinney on Tuesday night, so they're 1-0 in district play. Plano East, who is probably going to be their biggest, actually lost to Prosper Tuesday night.
Did they really?
because they're big. And this tells you a lot about, because Plano East had 12 guys that were all seniors, and they lost a lot. DJ Hall comes back, who was their big player, but he was out Tuesday night, and they lost to Prosper. So that says, okay, without DJ Hall, that's what they are.
Yeah.
And they lost at home even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wish I could have been there.
That was
It's a character building moment.
There you go. So Plano East will be the big challenger. So
I feel sorry for Princeton Tuesday night.
yeah, well, that'll be fun. So
Yeah, and we don't know a time yet, but as we were talking about, North Crowley, 14-0, plays 13-0 Duncanville this Saturday at Eagle Stadium in Allen.
We might have to use a connections group pass or something.
Yeah.
Press box.
Yeah, well, exactly.
I can.
Press box, and we
Make a call.
can either do some interviews or up there. Yeah.
Oh, up there?
Yeah.
We'll walk around and just talk to see who's there.
Well, yeah.
We ought to get a little BEBC press pass.
There you go.
Oh, we need BEBC badges.
All right.
Badges.
Badges?
We need badges.
With the little flip-out wallets?
Hey, thank you to Coach Wigg and the coaching staff. We've had a really good year with you guys.
Coach
Appreciate
Ingram,
you.
we hope you didn't catch a cold.
Are any of them graduating and not going to
I don't know. We'd
We'd
have
really
gotten
like
to
to
know
keep
them.
you around.
Yeah.
You should stick with it one more year at least. Come on, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, we love this coaching staff, and you guys are
We
great.
really do.
And appreciate all the time you spend with us at tailgate and things we learn from you. And
Yeah.
please, reach out if you need anything, and we're here for you. And we'll look forward to football banquet coming up in January, probably.
Probably.
That is, and we'll have a good time there.
Yep.
So
Yep.
until next time, which I don't know when it'll be, folks. We'll be back on here, and hopefully we can get Coach Sip and a few of his guys here to sit down with us. We'll talk basketball before too long.
Get a little bit more in depth with the basketball team.
That's right. Y'all can listen to him talk his coach speak.
Yeah. So thanks to all the seniors.
Yep.
We've enjoyed it so much. We're so happy to have had a chance to hang out and support you guys. So
Take all your balding eagle magnets with you too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take them off your locker. Take them with you. Brady, heal up, buddy. Hope you're doing okay today.
and anybody else that happened to get injured, we hope you're feeling better.
That's right. So, Merry Christmas from us to you. Enjoy time with your family. Be careful out there, wherever you go. And until next time, it's over, and we are out.